Welcome back, nerds. Fino here. So, FGO has actually just put out a Craft Essence campaign, and this consists of two banners. These go through FGO's past limited craft essences, and this first banner, which I'm going to be talking about in this video, covers from FGO's very first event all the way through Christmas 2. Now, this is notable because it includes some really powerful CEs. A couple of these you will never see again, barring some strange change on JP. Okay, so let's start things off. I figure I would take a look through all the CEs and just get my quick thoughts on them to see whether they're worth rolling for. Because here's the thing about this banner. Every CE is crammed into one banner. Well, two banners, but there's a ton crammed into this first banner. Now, your odds of rolling a 5-star CE in general are not amazing. And if you're looking to get multiple copies of the same 5-star CE, you're going to be in pretty rough shape, but that's the price of power. One way of thinking about it is that if you have a previous event CE that you haven't max limit broken, you could throw some Hail Marys to try and do it this time, but again, you'll want to be cognizant of how much you're investing and how good the CEs are. So without further ado, let's take a look. First off, we have Moon Goddess's Bath. Now, this was from FGO's very first event, the atrocious Moon Goddess event, where slamming your face into the lowest AP node was actually the most efficient way of clearing it, unless you were a mega whale with like a ton of copies of this. And it's not a very good CE either, because it just gives you some health per turn. Again, like 750 health per turn limit broken, that's not amazing. A full health investment. You don't really get that far with piddly recovery amounts like that. If you have a servant that really abuses regen or other healing effects, you want to run Made in Halloween, and that's not something you can get from a Craft Essence banner. So, thumbs down. Alright, next up we have Halloween Petite Devil from the very first Halloween event. Now, this one is a bit of starting charge and NP gain. Attack distribution is good. I'm sorry, this one is called Little Halloween Devil, I forgot. The NA titles aren't actually the page titles. By the way, doing wiki serving videos isn't really my style, but given the volume of information that I have to go through, I figure it's a lot more efficient just to have it all on screen, and yeah, I'll just deal with that. Now, effects are decent. 60% starting charge on CEs is interesting because there are a couple of servants with unusual charge amounts that get like 40% or 20% over 2 installments. If you happen to have one of those servants and you have like 4 copies of this, maybe it's worth trying to fish for a 5th. In general, though, it's not like an overpowered CE. It's just, good. Good, solid, not necessarily worth headhunting for in a vacuum. Ah, and here we are, Gudaguda Poster Girl. I would say this is by far the strongest CE in this pool, and it's also the one that's amazing even at 0 stars. In fact, it's like one of the very few CEs in the game where its power goes up linearly as you accumulate copies because you don't combine them. Like a lot of CEs, like you get a huge power spike when you go from 0 to 1 copies, and then you get another power spike going from 4 to 5 copies, with like just a complete plateau in between. Gudaguda Poster Girl, each additional copy lets you draft one of your servants into a 3-turn taunter. The attack buff, it has some niche applications, but in a lot of cases, it's not going to be relevant for your decision making. There are a lot of servants that are only good with Gudaguda Poster Girl or some equivalent taunt CE. Like, you think Amadeus. Amadeus is like prime example, because if he doesn't have some sort of taunt on him, you have to play enemy card RNG, and that's not super fun or consistent. Stuff like that. This, if there's any reason to roll on this banner, this is it. Now, of course, the pool is extremely dilute, so you can expect a punishing gacha experience. But if you're interested in sort of tapping into the power of this CE, to my understanding, as of this recording, this is the last chance you will have to get Gudaguda Poster Girl in any capacity. Barring some sort of Gudaguda 1 rerun. Which, Halloween, like the Halloween trilogy got a rerun on JP recently, so maybe, it's possible, but I wouldn't count on it necessarily. But yeah, Gudaguda Poster Girl is immensely powerful because controlling enemy aggro And being able to cycle through your backline rapidly and without necessarily committing to a Chen Gong team is really it's a very strong effect. And it lets you power through encounters with extreme consistency. Yeah, you can stick it on Scotty or one of your weaker characters. If you have someone that's just dead in the water after they pop their skills, they can be a good recipient for this. I'd say the only downside is that you can't forcefully equip it on story supports. But, you know, I'll take what I can get. So, Gudaguda Poster Girl, 10 out of 10, one of the strongest CEs in Fate Grand Order, so think about it. Alright, next up we have Present for My Master. I don't actually remember this one. Christmas 1, huh? Man, it's been a long time. Let's see. Full health distribution. Star Absorption and Healing Received, that's not amazing. You don't really want those two in combination. Not really worth headhunting for. Alright, then we have Grand New Year. Let's see, Taunt CE, not bad. One turn invuln, actually. It's not terrible. There are some edge cases. There's some fights where enemies will NPU immediately on turn 1. And if they're single target attackers, maybe you can get something out of it. Debuff resistance, not really relevant. It's an interesting effect, but not really worth headhunting for. Although if you happen to get one in this banner, it's not a bad get. There are applications. Again, taunt CEs are very strong in general. Gudaguda Poster Girl is like the gold standard, but all the others, they tend to be pretty solid too. You know, a taunt's a taunt. Alright, let's see. The Crimson Land of Shadows. Very strange craft essence, all the way back from Saber Wars 1. So this increases your flat damage by 100 every turn. Now in a vacuum, this is a terrible effect because, well, A, the CE has split stats, which isn't amazing in the first place, and you could probably get more through like an offensive buff and like a better stat distribution. But there was a case where you could actually use this way back in Summer 1 with the Crab Battle, where the crabs just have tremendous damage resistance, and if you had flat damage, that was one way of getting around that. But, you know, nowadays, not really worth speccing into. It's also very slow, because again, you start at like nothing, and you gain 100 every turn. You know, it's pennies. Next up, we have Street Chocomaid from the very first Valentine's event. Let's see what it does. Another healing received, again, not really necessary with Maiden Halloween around. Arts Quick Hybrid, not really what you want. For my tastes, I tend to think that the hybrid CEs tend to be better when they have starting charge on them, so something to keep in mind going forward. So, thumbs down. Mature Gentleman from Kara no Kyokai. Instant kill resistance? That's a really weird effect. That's super fucking niche. I would not be able to recommend this. Although, yeah, there are edge cases where enemies will try to fish for insta-kill on you. I remember that one Asan fight. But, you know, you wouldn't equip this on those servants anyway. So, yeah, little too niche. Thumbs down. Peerless Puppeteer. Good old Toko. Oh, sorry, it's called Grand Puppeteer. I keep looking at the titles. Alright, so 60% limit broken is decent. 20% art performance for 3 turns is actually a little underwhelming. Like, 20% is not a magnitude that really justifies a time-limited effect. So, I don't know. Then again, there are edge cases. Maybe? Like, if you're doing a 3-turn clear anyway, you could exploit this for loops and stuff. I'm not terribly convinced. Again, look at that stat distribution. It is not great. Like, with a CE like this, you'll be wanting to run it on an attacker, and having both a limited buff duration and mixed stats is not terribly impressive. Thumbs down. Alright, Kiss Your Hand. Chaldea Boys. Ooh, rainbow buff? That's not very good. Yeah, thumbs down. Rainbow buff with no starting charge is not great. Like, those effect magnitudes would have to be ridiculously high to really justify that kind of arrangement. Ah, Teacher and I remember this. 50 to 60% starting charge, 50% at 0 stars is usable, especially if you're a new player. But I want to point out that it has a stat distribution entirely spec'd into health, which is not good. I mean, again, your starting charge servants are generally... You generally want to put starting charge on attackers, and... full health distribution... Star absorption, I mean, sure. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say this is not very good. Yeah, something you gotta keep in mind when you look at CEs. Full health is generally not a good sign for pretty much anything, unless it's like raw utility on a support. And even then, you wouldn't want to put this on a support. You don't want them stealing stars, so, thumbs down. Ah, now this is nostalgic. Versus, I remember recommending this way back in the first Chaldea Boys. This was my pick because it provides the most unique effect of the CEs there. And one that you can actually see use on. So this one gives you both damage and defense against divine enemies. It is a limited time effect, but look at those magnitudes. 80 and 40 with just one copy, and 150 max limit broken. I wouldn't max limit break this, it's not really worth doing nowadays, but back before Fondant Chocolat, like, this was one of your better options against divine enemies. And there were some edge cases, even after Fondant came out, where I would have a reason to run both. If you're feeling pretty spicy, you could even run it against someone like Argent Altar in Lost Belt 4. So again, at the time, not bad, and if you get a copy now in this banner, it's something you could keep in your toolbox. Mixed stats is not great, but given the effect magnitude, that's not a huge drawback. Only problem is that you can easily get screwed out of the effect by hand RNG, but you can get around that by equipping it on a soloist and having them be the last person to enter the field. There are ways of engineering that with, like Chengong combos and stuff like that. It's doable. So yeah, just to reiterate, solid CE, not necessarily worth headhunting for nowadays. Ah, a Fox Knight's Dream. All the way back in Rashomon. So NP gain and flat stars is not terribly impressive. On mixed stats, I don't really know. It's pretty wishy-washy. Here's the thing. A lot of CEs, especially way back in the day, they would just try to explore novel combinations of effects and weird stat lines. And a lot of these end up as pretty mediocre combinations. So yeah, thumbs down. Go west from that extremely cursed event. Nice art, though. Yeah, NP damage and flat stars, like 4 flat stars. Well, it's stars per turn, sorry. I'm used to calling it flat stars, as opposed to, like, star gen. Yeah, no. You want starting charge, unless you're running something like Black Grail. CEs that have NP damage but no starting charge are a pretty rough get. Like, you would need a huge magnitude to justify using it. Like, that's the reason why Black Grail sees use and Heaven's Field doesn't. Also, stat distribution, not good. Thumbs down. Ah, Dumplings Over Flowers, all the way back from Onigashima. Great event. CE itself, kind of whatever, again. Quick and NP damage is not a terrible combo, but the stat distribution is... nah, it's bad. Thumbs down. Leisurely Strolling, or Leisure Stroll. I don't know why they changed that. Sure. Star Absorption Arts Performance, not terribly impressive. Like, if you have servants with absorption effects, or if your servant needs an absorption effect, odds are you'd rather have them have crit damage, which is why something like Conversation on the Hot Sands is good. And a lot of these CEs, not good. Again, mixed stats, thumbs down. Ah, King's Companion. Partake with... Well, actually, wait. I'm pretty sure it's just called Partake with the King. I don't know what this other title is. But anyway, this is probably our second, like, really good CE from this banner. I mean, I guess versus, so third. Buster performance and up to 60% starting charge. I forget if any Buster servants can actually really exploit 60% starting charge. I guess Abigail, but God, that's weird. I'm not actually sure if that extra 10% on MLB is relevant. I don't know, maybe you guys can think of a servant where it is. But yeah, starting charge, Buster, full attack distribution, again, solid all around. If you have like 4 copies already, maybe it's worth trying to go for a 5th. So keep that in mind. Thumbs up. Pirate's Party, that is quite a CE. So Invuln Pierce and stars per turn. Actually, that's reasonably solid. The only reservation I would have is that Sweet Crystal was actually given out for free, and I think you might actually still be able to get it. Yes. Okay, so you can actually get Sweet Crystal in the Rare Prism shop, so a little difficult to justify getting this. That one has starting charge, this one doesn't, so probably not worth headhunting. Ooh, Knights of Marines. Okay, this is actually quite interesting. So, funny story. I have like a billion copies of this because I had a little mishap with the Squirturia, so I ended up getting quite a few copies of the Summer 1 CEs. This one, though, is actually quite interesting. So, up to 60% starting charge with a quick buff. There actually is at least one quick servant that can use this, and that is Saber Astolfo, who's coming later this year. Pretty jank servant, but pretty buff. He has a end of turn self-charge, 20%, so after 2 turns, you can pop his NP with this. Post-buff, you only need to wait 1 turn, so again, not bad. There are niche applications, it's solid, maybe a little outdated. But otherwise, I'd actually say it has aged fairly well. So you got one of those quick servants that has like a weird charge amount, maybe it's worth looking into. Thumbs up. Ooh, Magical Girl of Sapphire. Okay, so after Gudaguda Poster Girl, I would say this is the second strongest CE on this banner. I actually forget if it gets more. Well, actually, here, it says right here that the Prisma Ilia movie campaign has it. So maybe not worth hunting for in this banner, but just in general, extremely strong CE. A great loop enabler. Because yeah, you have 50% starting charge, has to be limit broken though. And it has NP gain, so that is quite strong in combination with a full attack stat line. Yeah, 2 thumbs up. Glory is with me, all the way back from Nerofest 2, huh? Because it is the Redux, which would imply that it's the second one. Actually, let me check real quick. Is that right? Okay, yeah, it has exhibition quests, so it is... Yeah, so that's Nerofest 2. Effect-wise, attack is good. NP damage, crit damage, stars per turn, no, not amazing. You don't really need that combo. That is like 2 different flavors of effect that you don't really want in combination with each other. I mean, again, it doesn't hurt to have different buff combinations, but like the synergy just isn't there. And if the CE's power budget goes to that combination of effects instead of having like starting charge or star absorption or NP gain or something, it's not really worth. So thumbs down. Whoa, Dangerous Beast, some fucking quality artwork. But does the effect hold up? Quick performance, stars per turn. Having stars per turn on a quick CE is a little weird. Because if you're running one of those brawly quick teams in the first place, you know, 4 stars is a drop in the bucket. So I would not recommend it. Like, listen, the artwork is good, but PNGs, they're online for a reason. Ah, Moment of Silence. Or sorry, a Moment of Tranquility. NP gain, arts quick. Actually, a lot worse than I remember it being. Oh, listen, if you have No starting charge, but NP gain. It may as well be with an arts effect, but arts and quick? That's a little weird, I don't know. Yeah, would not recommend. Okay, now we get into the 4-star CEs. I'm gonna run through these a little faster because, spoilers, a lot of these tend to not be very good. Okay, so Charm Resistance, Full Health Distribution on Moony Jewel, thumbs down. Halloween Arrangement. Okay, Taunt is not bad. Taunt and Increased Defense is very weird, because that implies you want whoever you have it on to survive the experience, and I don't know. Like, doing it via defense is a little weird. There are situations where hitting 100% defense actually is better than having invuln, because enemies will have invuln pierce effects. So, niche, but usable, I would say. And again, if your servant's like... Actually, no. Even 80% might actually be enough to keep someone like Amadeus alive. So, a lot less useful for party cycling, but maybe it has some defensive utility. Maybe. Oh, launch order! Okay. I'm sorry, after party order. It's actually pretty nostalgic. I remember getting quite a few copies of this. But, you know, Buster Quick, no starting charge, it's okay. Nothing special. March of the Saints. Look at that Tosaka. How adorable. 4% charge per turn and 300 health? Yeah, that's a pass. Or, sorry, that's a skip. Heroic New Year. One-time debuff immunity and a little bit of increased defense? I don't know about that. It's a little too niche for my blood. And if you play the game for long enough, I would wager that you've accumulated quite a few copies of Vesla of the Saint. So, Also, unfortunate thing about these sorts of CEs, they don't actually prevent, like, box debuffs that you get from exhibition quests and stuff like that. Or, sorry, challenge quests. So, man, questionable. Mikoto Bride Training. Wait, 65% chance to heal? What? What the fuck is this? God, I forgot this was a thing. Oh my god, this is terrible. Why would you want this? Oh god, thumbs down. Alright. Kitchen French word that I'm gonna butcher, so I'll save you the trouble. Let's see. NP gain, star gen, a little too slow. Weak stat distribution. That's a thumbs down. Ah, Vivid Dance of Fists. Flat damage increase. Well, probably better than that one Kuin Skahak one we saw earlier, but again, flat damage is something with a very narrow range of applications, and one that you don't really encounter nowadays. So, you know, the time for this sort of effect has come and gone. Thumbs down. Mystic Eyes of Distortion. Okay, so the Buster effect is nice, but 15% defense reduction? That's rough. That is very rough. I mean, again, your servants, even the beefy ones, tend not to be working from huge health pools in the first place, so it's not really worth crippling them with that sort of effect. Especially since with no starting charge, you have to build up manually to any NPs or try to Buster Brawl. No, it's a little hard to justify. 4 Beasts in the Moonlight. NP gain, star gen health, not a terribly impactful combination. Thumbs down. Glass Full Sweet Time. Okay, so sure hit, damage reduction, flat damage. Not great. There is a Taiga CE with 1 strike. By the way, if you never noticed that, here, let me actually pull it up. Yeah, that's Taiga. That is Taiga as she did not appear in Fate Zero. It was like a Fate Zero spin-off or something, like a side story. It was weird. But yeah. You don't really need quick performance, but again, as a standard pool CE, if you need Invuln Pierce, or I'm sorry, if you need Sure Hit that badly, this'll do. This'll do the trick. You don't really need to roll in a limited banner for it. Noisy Obsession. Alright, crit damage, NP damage, charm success. I don't know about that. For 15%, no, that's not really worth. Thumbs down. Oh, Burning Tale of Love. I remember this one. Now, this is actually pretty interesting because it gives you special damage against men. You know, debuff success, that's fine, I guess. So there's actually applications for this. They're niche nowadays because it might be a little too slow for some of the fights that you'll be dealing with. But you can actually use this. This is aged fairly well because it is not a common effect. And being able to put it on any servant, yeah, I could see some memes you could do with that. Okay, yeah, that's just specific damage. So, not bad, thumbs up. True Samadhi Fire. Buster and NP damage? No, not really worth. Oh, let me put it this way. If you found this just rolling in general, sure. You know, you're a new player, maybe you could use this. To headhunt on a banner like this, no. The Faithful Dog Who Waits. Arts and NP gain, not a bad combo. Or not a bad combo. Having it all in health, pretty bad. Goldfish Scooping. Okay, so it's like a Buster version of With One Strike. Not bad in a vacuum. If you have one, so be it, but not really worth headhunting for. Yeah, again, I want to point out, there's a good chance a fair bit of you have Sweet Crystal already, and Invuln Pierce does the same thing as Sure Hit, but, you know, for Invuln Pierce and Evasion, so if you have it, none of these really matter. Twilight Memory from way back in Summer 1. One-hit evasion, some quick performance, mixed stats, nah, thumbs down.
All meat's back on the menu, boys.
So, yeah, not a terribly impactful effect. Arts performance and a minor heal per turn. Heal per turn is generally like a waste of real estate on CEs. Takes away from their power budget. Like, paltry heals like this are not very impactful in regular gameplay. Yeah, thumbs down. By the way, I want to point out before I move on to this, I have like 1 billion copies of Meat Wars. Yeah, I had a bunch of copies of Knights of Marines. Meat Wars, I have like an inventory full of the shit. Or at least, maybe I had? Maybe I got rid of them. I'll have to check. Kill on Sight from the Prisma Ilia event. Arts performance, NP damage, that at least synergizes. Mixed stat sucks. No starting charge is pretty rough. Thumbs down. Legion of Pioneers. Oh, I didn't know Redrop did this. That's cool. Okay, NP damage and defense? That is a weird combo. Not really one that you need. Yeah, give that a skip. Witch of Moonlit Night, or Witch Under the Moonlight. I think I like the translation better, the fan translation. Anyway. Arts and P gain, sure. Mixed stats, no. Thumbs down. Ah, Scuffed Waver. Let's see. Wait, what is he sitting on? Is that a stool? Is that his luggage? Casting Stool Waver. Huh. Sounds a lot more nasty than it really is. So, okay, reading on the Holy Knight. NP damage, NP gain. Yeah, it's whatever. Mixed stats, no. Skip it. Jack-o'-lantern. Okay, so now we're on to the 3-star CEs, and most of these are not terribly interesting. Flat damage by 200? Nah, I'm good. Oh, Fate Gudaguda Order. Oh, this takes me back. Hey, are you ready to have 1% of every effect? I'm surprised they didn't throw like 1% starting charge in there or something. It's a funny meme, but yeah, again, you don't really need a CE with effects this dilute. Lightning Reindeer. 3 turns of Buster... Actually, 3 turns of Buster performance on a 3-star CE at 20%? I think a 3-turn drawback is fair on that, but again, fair doesn't really mean good. So, give it a skip. Peacefulness of 2016, or as we know it, Peacefulness of 2018. 2-year gap. Wait, so you get a paltry heal and you lose attack for it? No, I don't think that's very good. Okay, great CE art. I love it. Hell yeah. Law of the Jungle. So every year they put out a Rio CE, and the amount of QP it gives actually increases by like 1 every year. As you can tell, the NA version is actually slightly stronger because the effect is tied to which year it came out on. But you know, you're dealing with like 1 flat QP at this point. Like, of difference. If you need these, you can get them from the Friend Point Gacha every new year, or whichever version is coming out. As to what you would use this for, like, there are edge cases. When you have half AP campaigns going on, like, there is actually, like, a 1 AP node in Fuyuki that you could do, and every time you do it, you get, you know, like 2018 QP or something. So, you know, this style of CE has a very niche application, and it's not very hard to get. This specific one, though, not really worth headhunting for, because you'll get better ones more easily. True Shot. Crit damage is whatever on this. Sure Hit is fine. Good stat distribution. Sure. It's alright. Still wouldn't headhunt for, again. Sure Hit is an effect you can get quite easily through other means. Valentine Dojo of Tears. That's some nice art. Okay, full attack distribution. Again, Sure Hit. Debuff resistance down is not a particularly big deal. Flat charge per turn. Flat charge per turn is generally like not great unless you're like at Prisma Cosmos territory. But again, on a 3-star CE that also has Sure Hit, it's not bad actually. For a 3-star CE, this is relatively good. But you know, you're not rolling in this banner for 3-star CEs. But if you get this, you know, not a bad get. Ah, Sprinter. AKA not Emiya. Let's see, full health distribution, quick and debuff resistance, no. No, that's a skip. Ah, Mr. Cornelius, repeat magic. 30% charge, 15% NP gain, it's not really worth. Here's the thing, if you fish enough in the Friend Point Gacha, you can get Dragon's Meridian. And that gives 50% starting charge limit broken. And for a 3-star CE, that's really all you need in most situations. Like, that calls for having a 3-star CE with starting charge. So, something to keep in mind. Salon de Marie. 1 in evasion, a little bit of healing up. Diva success up. No, not really interesting. That's not a combo of effects that you really need. It's a little too niche. Even for someone, like, that you just want to keep on the board for a turn. Nah. Prince of Slayer, that is some quality art. So, damage against dragons is an interesting effect. Is this unique in that? It might be. So that's cool. But again, mixed stats. Paltry stars per turn. So while on paper this effect is interesting, the way I see it, you'll actually get more damage running like a higher rarity CE that does something standard like, say, Golden Sumo. So yeah, real shame on that. Actually, what the hell does this do? Oh, undead, huh? Sorry, not in the banner. Okay. Reciting the subscription list. 2 tick... Oh, defense debuff immunity? That's so specific. That is way too narrow of an effect to really see use. Thumbs down. All 3 together from Go West. Star Absorption, crit damage, full attack investment. For a 3-star CE, that's not terrible. Ah, Hidden Blade, Pheasant Reversal. I saw a lot of this back in Onigashima. So, quick performance, crit damage, solid. That's respectable for a 3-star CE. Fire Flower, Star Generation crit damage, it's not bad. Oh, that's pretty bad though, never mind. Thumbs down. Shining Goddess. Defense and arts performance, full health investment, not really worth. Oh, sorry, Shiny Goddess. Okay. Shaved Ice, Void Dust flavor. Holy shit, that is cursed, but you know what? Very on brand. Ooh. Flat damage down? I'm sorry, flat damage resistance and debuff resistance? No, you don't really need that. Zunga Zunga. Damage resistance, healing received, amounts are too small to be relevant. Okay, Howl at the Moon. Bust her up, but debuff resist down? Honestly, that's a fair trade-off. That's actually not bad for a 3-star CE. Like, if I was playing Neurofest back then and I'd rolled this, I would not be opposed. But, you know, again, nowadays, you don't really need it. Again, you're not really rolling in this banner to fish for 3-star CEs in the first place. But if you happen to get it, and if you're a new player that for some reason rolls in this banner, not a bad get. Ah, Count Romani's Hospitality. Oh. Defense and P gain and health? Nah. It's not really worth. Okay, and last up, we have Saint's Invitation. Wow, that is underwhelming. Defense, damage resistance again, man, again, not something you need. Well, it's not something you need in that small of an amount. Let me put it that way. If you need defense on a servant, you really just go straight to Iron Will training. Which, there have been situations where that's been relevant, or you go with Holy Shroud of Magdalene if you're fighting men. But yeah, okay, well, that's about it for this set, actually. So yeah, there is actually one other banner. I'll be doing a separate video on that, so I don't make this like a fucking hour long. Apologies if that was a little rambling. Let me know what you thought, or if you found this useful, rather. That said, if you're rolling for Gudaguda Poster Girl, good luck. Again, this banner's very dilute. It's going to be rough headhunting a specific CE, but because it has both Gudaguda Poster Girl versus the Gilgamesh CE and Magical Girl of Sapphire, there's value here. Again, most of it is in Gudaguda Poster Girl, so if you want to go for it, good luck. You're going to need it.